My name is Jens Gröger from the Institut, based in Berlin, at least me. Well, the rest of the Institut is mainly based in Freiburg. We did some research for the Umweltbundesamt, for the German energy, environment agency, that's right. And I'm right here to present the Blue Angel for software and for other ICT products. And as we really dived deeply right now into the die surface of chips and into formulas and so on, it's great that with the Blue Angel we just lift the level of abstraction a little bit. We even come higher than the clouds with this angel. And we look at general concepts, how to improve sustainability of products on the market. And this is a policy mix for more sustainable products. And this is quite complicated. I don't want to explain everything. But in general, the elephant you see here is the amount of products on the market. And we have very few products that are really bad. So on the right side, on the left side, you get the little sustainable products, and on the right side, the very sustainable products, because there is a cutoff by certain regulations, such as eco-design, which do not allow certain products to get into the market. For example, the light bulb is being cut off after a certain amount of electricity the lights are consuming, and other things like restriction of hazardous substances, REACH, and ROSE, which is written here, restriction of hazardous substances, and REACH, registration, evaluation, authorization, and restriction of chemicals. All these work that the worst of the products don't appear on the market. But then there are quite a lot of products on the market with different kinds of sustainability standards. And then some when it stops, where a product can't be better than a certain number on the right side. And what Green Public Procurement, GPP, and Ecolabel try, they try to pull these products into more sustainability. So if the public authorities, for example, with Green Public Procurement, buy special environmental friendly products, they do it because they want to move the market, they want to move this elephant to the right side. And so Ecolabel, this is what I'm gonna talk about right now, is one of the things that tries to pull the market. Another thing is eco-labeling, and what we're doing here right now to measure software, to find out how efficient or how much energy it's consuming, is also an instrument to get more aware. And if you know, on the washing machines and so on, these label A to G, everybody wants to buy a refrigerator with an A on it. And so the energy labeling is also one measure, one policy instrument to somehow, move this elephant. Okay, let's look at eco-labels especially. There are different purposes of an eco-label, mainly to promote environmental friendly products. So I can see at a very quick view, this is an environmental friendly product. It's easily recognizable. So it's a consumer information directly on the point of sale. And it's highlighting special features of a product. Let's say at toilet paper, you see it's made of recycling paper, and that's why it's got advantages compared to toilet paper made from fresh wood. And they for sure support the credibility of a product, because the eco-label, I will show it later on again, is a independent instance looking at the product. There are also secondary purposes like transforming the market and setting a positive benchmarks. You got lots of companies that don't really apply for the Blue Angel or for an eco-label, but they look at the criteria behind. They're trying to improve their washing machines or whatever, so they would fit eventually the criteria, but they don't show it in the market. Yeah, it's a benchmark for best available products. And it's also a testing for future legal requirements, because we've seen there are legal requirements on the left side. And if the market somehow turns to better products, it will be possible to move the legal requirements to more ambitious levels. So what's an eco-label? And this is the result of some picture search in the internet. Eco-label seems to be somehow green. It's great. British Petrol is also part of it. And it's somehow green and leave and nature somehow. And unfortunately, there are lots of companies that just put some green leaf or anything, green IT, whatever, green cloud, green hoster on their products. And unfortunately, nobody really knows what's behind. And it does not really help to just make a blue badge to it. There should be somehow standards and it should be somehow comparable. So fortunately, there is a standard, ISO 14024, who defines the characteristics of a type 1 eco-label. And it's this kind of characteristic award for above average environmental friendly sustainable products. So it really should show which product is better than the average. There is an open access for all interested applicants, but it's voluntarily. That's different than eco design, for example, which is a minimum requirement. The label is voluntarily, and everybody can apply for that label. So if one company invents itself a label called Green IT or Intel, Green Intel inside or whatever, no other company will be able to apply for that, but these type 1 eco-labels do. And so on, transparent process of criteria development. This is actually what we're doing at Institut or have been doing quite a lot for Umweltbundesamt to develop these minimum criteria. Investigation of the products along its life cycle. It's important not only to look at one part like the energy consumption in the usage phase, for example, but on the whole life cycle of a product. And if we look, for example, on smartphones, we did that. We found out it's not the energy consumption of smartphones that is important, but it's the lifetime of the product. It must be repairable, the battery must be removable, and so on, that you can use this part especially long, because the main environmental impacts come from the production phase. And so you have to extend the lifetime. It's a multi-criteria approach and so on, proved by independent test institutes. It must be possible to measure these products. So it's not just a claim, it must be something that can be really measurable. And so there have also be measuring methods to be on the market or in the science to be able to really measure if this environmental benefit really is in this product. And there is an award by a third party, so it doesn't make any use if I declare it myself that my product is very environmental friendly, if there is not an independent third party that really verifies that. Okay, this I make very quickly. This German Blue Angel is just one of these eco-labels. There are, in fact, others around. There is a Nordic eco-label, there is an EU eco-label from the European Union, and yes, so there are different arounds, but this German Blue Angel eco-label is owned by the Ministry of Environment. The expertise comes from the German Environment Agency, and there is an independent jury that looks over the criteria if they cover all relevant issues or all relevant sustainability aspects. And there is it's called tester here, the RAL, which is the organization where you would apply for that label. In the field of green IT, there are several products: computers, data centers, printers, resource-efficient software products, servers and data storage products, mobile phones, take-back systems. Actually, today we are just talking about this resource and energy-efficient software products. But in fact, there is, for example, this Blue Angel for data centers. It's actually the first eco-label for data centers worldwide, just the same as with the software products. And I mean, it could be a good idea to run a cloud software in a Blue Angel certified data center. That would also be an advantage. Anyway, I will just show very quickly the different criteria that are inside this Blue Angel for software. And as I said before, it doesn't have to be a Blue Angel. It could be a set of criteria that could be used as a company, for example, to verify if its software is somehow sustainable. And we have 3 different fields on this page. You only see the first 2, the resource and energy efficiency of the software and the potential hardware operation life. In the resource and energy efficiency of a software, there are these 4 points that have to be stated. The minimum system requirements, the hardware utilization in idle mode, and then the hardware utilization and energy demand when running a standard usage scenario. That's especially what we're talking about today. We're talking about this point, 1.3 hardware utilization and energy demand when running a standard usage scenario. While the standard usage scenario here is, we'll see that later on, is not always using that software, but maybe only running a unit test or a defined test to check how much energy this software is consuming. Support for an energy management system is the next point, and then backward compatibility for at least 5 years before the time of application. This is actually my favorite criteria at this Blue Angel. The software must be able to run on a 5-year-old computer, showing that it's not blown up like some softwares are that do run only on the newest computers, but they also run on a 5-year-old computer. We have a list of reference computers where you have to prove that the software is actually running on, and we'll hear from Jose afterwards how that worked for the KDE software. And this is the 3rd point, as I mentioned before, user autonomy, and these are more or less soft points, but for some they are too heavy, where you have to document adequately your data format, so you have no customer lock-in effect. For example, if only this one software allows you to re-import your data you once produced, you have to document these formats adequately. You have to be transparent of the software product. You have to continue the updates and so on for at least 5 years. The software must be able to uninstall, and it must run also offline, at least parts of it, and it must be modular, so it should be possible to limit the function to a desired range and not to buy software suites where you have 150 possibilities, but you're actually using only 5 of it, but the 150 possibilities consume all your resources on your computer, and the absence of advertising. And in fact, this Blue Angel here, we found out that it only works for desktop computer software, not for cloud software, not for apps on mobile appliances. So we are currently restructuring and updating the criteria for the Umweltbundesamt to be able to also certify other software products as well. This is my last slide. Why should I use a Blue Angel or a eco-label at all as a company or as a community developing a software product? Because I can demonstrate my ecological commitment I made. I can demonstrate that I'm really aware of things. I have market advantages with an ecologically oriented customers. And in fact, we have, for example, this public sector that wants to buy green software, sustainable software somehow. So if there would be products compared to others that bear some eco-label, they would have a market advantage to be sold for the public sector, for example. Attracting investors, this is what we also hear is interesting for a software. If I say I'm a sustainable software, so I have got good chances to get more investments. Then I establish benchmarks in my own company so I can improve my product. And And the point, increased identification of own employees with the product. We heard also from companies who are using this Blue Angel that the employees there are proud that they produce refrigerators or whatever with the Blue Angel, and it probably applies also to software companies. And last point, contributing to making the planet a better place. So this was my presentation. Thank you very much.